Hello. Welcome back to Talk Therapy Heal. Again, you're in for a great treat. Tune in, pull a friend, pull a family member, and listen and glean for what we have for you today.
Hi, I'm Kenny King, licensed professional counselor associate supervised by Ms. Unica Willis.
Hi, I'm Rachel Logan, a licensed clinical social worker.
And hello, I'm Larisha Perlow, a licensed marriage and family therapist.
Hi, I am Unica Willis, a licensed professional counselor supervisor.
Hello, my name is Chantrell King. I'm a licensed professional counselor associate supervised by Unica Willis. So for today's show, what we are going to be speaking about is overcoming adversity, turning trials into triumphs. I'm so ready for this show.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Well, shall we start?
All right.
Jump right in.
That's a lot.
Okay, so where are we going to start at with this? How are we going to hit this so that the people really understand what it means to overcome adversity? What is adversity?
Yes.
Okay.
Good question. You got our definition, girl?
Of course.
It is a state or instance of serious or continued difficulty or misfortune. Say that again. A state or instance of serious or continued difficulty or misfortune.
Wow.
So continued difficulty or misfortune. So it sounds like ongoing.
Yes.
It's kind of like when you have those clients that come to you and say that I feel like the world is just on top of me and one thing just keeps happening after another, after another, after another.
When it rains,
Yes.
it pours.
Yes.
Right.
When it
Woe
rains.
is me.
Yes, when it rains, it pours. But we're going to talk about turning those trials into triumphs, that adversity into something positive. And did you pull up the definition for triumph?
Girl.
So you know
I got you.
Let me
What do y'all think it is? Just off of like general knowledge.
overcoming obstacles.
Yeah.
Being on the path to success.
Victory.
Yes. Victory is good.
Enduring.
Enduring. That's good.
Yeah.
We're about to start a song over here, y'all.
I was about to sing that. Oh my God. Then listeners like, I know that song.
Yeah. There you go.
Right.
All right.
Okay. She said, okay, choir director. Okay.
A victory or a conquest by or as if by military force. I'm going to say that again.
Come on.
Yes.
Come on. Come
A
on.
victory or a conquest by or as if by military force.
Ooh, so we taking that thing by force.
Listen, I promise I just thought about that.
By
Taking it by force.
Oh, ain't that what we meant?
And you know there's a Bible scripture for that.
I know. I was
Yes.
thinking about
Boom.
it.
And it says, from the days of John the Baptist until the kingdom of heaven suffered violence, and the violent take it by force. Matthew 11 and 12.
Come on. Come on.
A blessing to the readers and
Yeah.
This word. We didn't took it to church. Yeah, I promise you we're serious. We're professional.
But
That
I-
thing is in our spirit.
No, I think that's important that individuals, when it comes to overcoming adversity, you can't go into that thing with a light mindset. You got to go in thinking, you got to go hard with it. You know, and if you ain't fighting for everything that you want to overcome that adversity, are you really going to be able to achieve that goal? People in sports, they train. And when they train, they break sweat. Sometimes they strain muscles. Sometimes they have to take a step back, but it's always a heavy set fight that you have to get into to overcome adversity.
Y'all always know I come from an identity perspective, right?
Right.
So adversities often challenge our identities. It's either going to push us to evolve or retreat.
Oh, not retreat.
Retreat.
But you in war.
You at war, but you're going to retreat. You're going
falling
to
back.
hide. You're going to isolate.
Mm.
Ooh.
Wow. I think the reality is, and I know we always do this, we kind of talk a little bit before we get ready to air, is that there are so many that are dealing with adversity.
Yeah.
And so if you all wonder, like, how did you even come up with that? Because there are so many that are dealing with adversity. And I know for me, it makes me think about mindset, especially when you look at maybe where you're living right now. When you look out your window, it may look gray, it may be sad, it may be, you know what I'm saying? What surrounds you? Who you surround yourself with is very important. Who you allow to pour into you and speak into you is another thing that I learned personally that's very important, because whether we want to believe it or not, we as a people always think about the physical of makeup of ourselves, but we don't think about our mind. So who are we allowing to pour in our mind? Because then that's going to determine whether we're looking at things from a adverse standpoint or a triumph standpoint.
That's good.
If it's looking at, can't I do this or not? Because I'm going to be honest with you, coming from where I came from, when I first went to basic training, I'm just talking, I knew, it ain't no way, send me back. And that's what we tend to do when we get on the path. And if y'all can relate, just put amen in the comments. But when we get on the path, sometimes that thing can get so hard. We were talking about it in one of our shows, counseling. When you go into counseling, it's going to get hard, but it's okay. So what am I going to do? Run back to what I know because it's comfortable?
Yes.
Or keep forging forward towards that victory and triumph?
That's good.
Evolve or retreat.
That's
Come
it.
on.
And I think this may sound harsh, but I don't mean it to sound this way. One of the first things I think people have to do is quit making excuses. And sometimes we focus so much on what we can't do, a reason why we can't do something, that we forget about the thing that we're supposed to be trying to conquer. We focus more on the excuses than we do getting to that place of overcoming that adversity. It was years ago. I did a sermon at our church, and it was on something like this. It was about thinking positive, speaking life into yourself in certain situations. And the story that I used was that of 3 tree frogs. And so you got these 3 tree frogs on the ground, just having fun talking. And they all decided, well, we need to get from one end of the forest to the other. Let's just go ahead and go because they got some fun stuff going on down there. So they start hopping. And eventually one of the frogs was like, oh, wait, look out. And he accidentally jumped into this big hole. The other tree frogs got up in the tree and they were sitting down there looking at him. And so one of the frogs in the tree said, hey, that hole is deep. You're never going to get out of that hole. And he says, well, it's just, probably some adversity, but I don't think he's going to get out of there either. They're talking to each other in the tree. And so the one that was in the hole looked up and he saw him and he starts jumping. And they was like, dude, just lay down. Lay down. Look, lay down. Only thing that you're going to do is die. You can't get out of that hole. It's too deep. But the frog kept jumping and he kept jumping. And eventually he jumped out of the hole. Now, it's kind of like a riddle. Why was he able to get out of the hole?
Because he kept jumping.
He was deaf.
He couldn't.
He couldn't hear what they were saying, but the gestures that they were making, the gestures that he was making, he thought that they were encouraging him.
Wow.
So those things that you think sometimes that people are saying from a negative standpoint, you need to turn that around to the positive. Jump it and get yourself out of that hole.
Can you imagine how the church went in uproar?
You got to be careful who you're listening to.
Yes.
Oh my
you
God.
do.
I don't even know where to go. I don't even know what to say.
That's amazing. It is. Who are you surrounding yourself with?
Negativity. There you go.
That's it.
There you
Turn a
go.
blind ear to negativity.
Oh my
Because
God.
isn't it funny? A lot of times when you're going through something, somebody will sit there and just want to agree with you. Yeah, man, that's bad. I don't know how you're going to do that. But you'll never know how you're going to do it unless you try. The more you stay there listening to that negativity, the more you stay in that same perspective.
Right.
Change your way of thinking, go to that cognitive behavioral, start doing some positive affirmations or something, and work your way up out of that situation.
Right. You know what comes to mind too from the flip side of that is sometimes we as a people are so used to people speaking negative things to us, over us, talking down on us, that even when we may get in a time, and I'm speaking for myself when I say this, of prayer and say, God, something has to change. God, can you help me? We'll do that. Those who are believers, God, can you help me? And then God will send you and surround you with people that are speaking life into you, that are telling you you can do it, and all these things, but you get irritated with them. Why? Because all I know is people talking down, saying I'm crazy. And then this is where sometimes I think people, and this is probably will be like an aha moment, a light bulb moment in counseling, is why are you getting so frustrated with what you prayed for? And then it'll go back to what we said in the previous show. Well, then I'll blame. I'll blame, because what are you trying to do now? You're encouraging, but I'm seeing it as control. So a lot of times, yes, we cannot, and I'm not trying to say it's not going to happen, but we can't turn your trials into triumphs, and we find it as a barrier because we're trying to see, thinking that the people that we prayed for, a different circle to surround us, that are encouraging us, is actually controlling us. When no, they were sent there to encourage you. So I don't know. It's overcoming adversity. I mean, and I guess what I would ask those who are listening, ask and examine yourself as we're going through, what is your current adversity? What are you currently wrestling with and dealing with? Right. So I don't know. I don't know. But so y'all's thoughts, what do you think? It always be your breathing for me. I love it.
I'm trying to gather my thoughts, to gather myself, because this whole, just the thought of adversity and hearing how people deal with it, and how things, I guess, how we recognize it or how it impacts us. And I'm always thinking about the whole identity aspect. So I think overcoming, and this might be on something totally different, but overcoming adversity involves recognizing trauma, understanding its impact on identity, and working to rebuild, right?
Oh, yeah.
So how do we do that? How do we then overcome all of the negativity that we're hearing from people, all of the different things where people are not encouraging us in a positive manner, that all we hear is all of these, the noise, if you will, of negativity that keeps you down. Like, I have wrote this down as one of the barriers, the possibility of facing repeated or layered adversities leading to feelings of hopelessness, right? So how do we overcome that? Like, what is something that we can do to make sure that that's not something that keeps us down?
With faith, right? I know that there's a birthright for me that supersedes my environment, that supersedes how I grew up, what might have been said to me. I know I have a birthright to be more than a conqueror. I have a birthright to have dominion, take dominion over my life, over my circumstances. And I can do that through prayer. I know I have a birthright to be a king and a priest, to rule and to reign. I know that because like when you spend time with God, He will reveal to you who you are, what you're supposed to have, your future, because He knows the plans He has for me, and they're good. They're to prosper me. They're not to give me, harm, or to, cause me to be in a sunken place. But I mean, we can keep going on and on. The scripture says that Christ died that I may have life and have that more abundantly. So like, I know that. So I know that I'm supposed to have joy, peace, love, and a sound mind, right? I know I don't supposed to have a spirit of fear, right? So
I know that through the word of God. So when I know that trials are going to come, right? We know that tribulations are going to come, but I know that beyond that, there's a birthright for me. So I am looking towards that mark. I am focusing on, okay, God says, I don't supposed to be poor. I'm supposed to be rich. And not just in like physical money, but in my mindset. So if I know that, Lord, teach me, show me, guide me, give me the books to read, give me the mentor, give me the counselors to help me really get me to that place. Cause I'm here, but I'm supposed to be here. So I have to spend time working on myself. Like we always been saying, surrounding, but I think for me, it's deeper. I know who I'm supposed to be.
Right.
How did you find that out? How did you come to understand and know this is who I am?
I study the word.
Exactly.
I read. I do devotions.
Yes.
You did the work.
You did the work.
Did the work. Yeah.
Because I thought that I had low self-esteem, right? I thought like, oh, I'm not good enough, right? Because if I think I'm not good enough, therefore I'm not going to strive for greater. I'm just going to allow this misfortune to, overtake me versus me overtaking it. So yeah, I did the work.
Yeah. I think people out there. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was just going to say real quick, it's about focus.
Oh, there you go.
Where's our focus?
Come on.
You know what I mean? It's about perspective.
Yes.
You receive, I think we all receive perspective from the word. You know what I mean? And focus, as we focus on the Lord, you know what I mean? He does reveal things to us. He reveals us to us.
Right.
You know what I mean? And shows us what we need to do, with that as well. But
Absolutely.
perspective.
Absolutely.
Yeah, the way we look at things kind of determines which routes we're going to go. You can look in the Bible when David had to face Goliath. He didn't say, I can't do this because I'm too small. I'm not the man that's supposed to be doing this. He just went out and said somebody has to defeat that Philistine. That's what's going to happen. Took his 3 stones and he did it. We need to start focusing on the prize, as Rachel was saying, because when we go pick fruit, now I'm from the country, y'all. We went deep in the woods to pick stuff. One of my favorite things to pick was blackberries. And if you've ever picked blackberries, you know they have these little thorns, thistles that come around them. But do you stick your hand in there and grab the thistle, or do you stick your hand in there to grab the fruit? That's what we need to be focused on, is the fruit that's going to be good for us, not those things that we think are going to harm us. We got to focus on the fruit. And so a part of that is we have to understand that when we're trying to overcome adversity, we can't be focused too much on the problem more than we are the person that's trying to overcome the adversity, especially when we're trying to help somebody. As counselors, a person coming in and tell us what the problem is all day long. We know if we sit long enough, we can go to a deeper level and say, no, that ain't it. It's something else. But we're not going to stay there with the problem. We got to move. We got some work that we got to do. So a part of understanding, overcoming adversity is understanding where you're at the moment, but then where do you want to go?
Right.
And then breaking that thing down into manageable steps,
yes.
and tackle it one at a time. I think when we look at when we are faced with adversities, we're trying to get to the other side, to that side that's okay, I made it over. Whew, success. But we try to take on the entirety of the thing, and it overwhelms us. And that's what hinders us, because it becomes too much. And when a thing becomes too much, we decide that we're not going to do it. I can't do it. So breaking it down and doing it in small bite-sized pieces that you can handle, I think is what helps you to be able to tackle that and overcome it. But I'm thinking of just even personal things within myself. I'm seeing a particular thing that's happening, but then I'm like, okay, I got to do this, and this. I'll take, for example, starting school. And my daughter, oh my gosh, she probably won't kill me for this, but anyway. When she would start school and she would get her syllabi the first day of class, she would get so overwhelmed and just bawl. And I knew that in the beginning of the semester, like I felt like I was still in college. When she would start school, I knew that first week I would have to be there as a support to her to help her break down those things into smaller bite-sized pieces so that she didn't become overwhelmed by what she thought or what she saw as an adversity, something that was weighing down on her, something that was too much. And I showed her how to be victorious over it. So we would break it down. Honey, you don't have to do the entire syllabi in one day. You just got it.
Right.
Break it down. These are in assignments that are given to you over time, but reading it at that time, and I would say she get it from me because I would do the same thing. I would see something and feel like I had to tackle the entire thing at one time. And I'm like, no, you break it down. I think I was telling you or either my husband, Rachel, when we was coming here, I was talking to you about that when I get a new client in, sometimes when I'm listening to their story and I'm sitting here and I'm running everything that they're saying to me through my head. And then I start questioning myself, oh my God,
Yeah.
can I handle this?
Yeah.
It's too much. Am I going to, and I'm like, wait a minute, Nikki.
Right.
You can break that down. You don't have
Right.
to fix them. You ain't trying to fix them. You
Right.
break this thing down. They're just telling you their story right now. And you're taking it as if you have to overcome the entirety of the thing right now. And you don't have to.
Right.
You said one thing, and I just want to say this thing. You said decide.
Oh, make a decision.
Decide. And I know in the previous segment, we said we got to work on ourselves daily. So decide daily. Yes, that I'm going to overcome adversity because you will have it.
Yeah.
Right.
Overcome. Decide daily. DD. Hashtag DD.
That's
I
good.
like how it's created exactly.
Yeah.
Man, that is so good. And I'm sitting up here listening to all of y'all and of course thinking about it from a relational standpoint and aspect. And I'm kind of chuckling within myself because you know how, okay, we're all married. So how we can, especially when we've been with our spouse long enough, we can see the greatness in them that they can't even see in themselves.
Yes.
And so kind of going back to one of the previous shows that we had, it's like sometimes because we may be in an adversity state, a defeated state, and our spouse is trying to support, no, baby, you can do it. I'm here with you. How do you want me to help you be greater? No, you get frustrated with Kenya about that. Because he was like, well, I don't know how I want to rep this because I'm so overwhelmed. You know what I'm saying? He's like, I'm just trying to help you. I'm just trying to help you. So sometimes when it comes to adversity and triumphs in our marriages, in our relationships, God has given us to help each other.
Yes.
That's what, I'm a believer, so I'm speaking. But God's given us to help each other. But then sometimes in a lot of marriages, you have one with a defeated mindset and one with a triumph mindset.
Right.
And you're not going anywhere. He says this all the time. It's like when we're supposed to be equally yoked and you got two oxen, instead of pulling in the same direction, we're pulling in the opposite directions. So we can't even triumph in our marriage because you choose, or both of you choose, to stay defeated instead of deciding daily to overcome and triumph, like she said. So if, that's you in relational in your marriage and you want to give up, ask yourself why. Is it because one has a defeated mindset and the other one's like, no, baby, I got you, but you're not used to anybody having you and you stuck in that stuff place? Come on, somebody. We need another topic. So, I'm just saying, let the people say.
Wow. that goes into one of the strategies that I've written down is having a strong support system.
Yes.
Whether it's friends, family, or professional.
Come on.
Therapy, y'all. But having that, but like you said, if we're pulling in opposite directions and I don't see because I don't know, because I ain't never been taught to me what support looks like, I will reject it.
Rejecting support. Jesus.
Listen.
Wow.
So I think the other part where you were talking about too, when and seeking support or having other people that we can look up to is listening to other people's stories, their testimonies for people who have overcome in similar adversities. So finding somebody who has experienced what you've experienced or what you're going through and be able to glean from them, right? You're talking about glean from us. Glean. We're supposed to glean. So this is one of the things I would say earlier on, like, people, if you ain't never been married, you can't tell somebody who is married how to have a good marriage. I'm just saying.
Mm-hmm.
So you have all these folks out here and saying that they're the expert in being a marriage therapist,
Relationships.
oh my God, relationship coaches, coaches and whatnot, and they don't have a successful relationship or marriage. I'm sorry, I can't talk to you. And this is something that I've noticed even in how God he orchestrates my life. All the things that I've ever experienced, he always gives me somebody who is going through something I've already been through that he feels like I've overcome. Or that at least I have the tools to know how to overcome. Because I can't tell you something or tell you about something I've never experienced. I just can't.
Can I please interject? You know this in my
that's your will.
It's all up in there.
Yeah.
It's two parts. One, I thought about the scripture, you should know them by their fruits. A lot of us are not, we're following something, but it's not those with fruit. Like, I need to see a fruit. I ain't saying you got to be perfect.
Wait, that just reminds me of what was said at the conference, Woman Involved conference, when they had the panel of men. And a man on the panel, I can't remember which one it was, but he was like, what type of fruit? What fruit are they dropping that you're seeing? What are they producing? So
No, you're right.
Absolutely right.
But you should know them by their fruit. And that's something that I have learned to, you know what I'm saying? Even if you in that thing and that thing is not perfect and you still trying to make it do what it do, then that's some okay fruit to me. You know what I'm saying? But we are following fake and facade. And then we wonder why we're in a adverse place in our life. What are we following? What are we allowing ourselves? And so to me, that's something. Now, the second part I was going to say is, let me talk to the people. Let me talk to the people.
Talk to the people.
Now, I love what you said because I feel that as well. What you was just saying about, you know what I'm saying, a good marriage and everything like that. Because we do know marriages have their ups and downs.
Absolutely.
But the thing is, I respect a person more if you were in a marriage and you went through a divorce that can say, I listen to how people talk, that can say, you know what? Yeah, I went through a divorce. I was married for such and such years, but let me tell you why I've learned that it ended up in divorce. Because I did, because they did, because we did. That's what I respect. But soon as a person come out of their mouth when it comes to a relationship because they marriage did not proceed in triumph and it ended in adversity and downfall, as soon as they start blaming and putting it all on the person, no longer talk to me. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it because what that's telling me, and this is before I became a therapist, that you don't even realize and recognize the part that you played in it. You're blaming. Going back to what we were saying, you point the finger. No, it was them. Okay, so let's go there for just a second, just a millisecond. If it was them, and somebody just said this, I was watching a TikTok video, and I promise you, I woke up my whole house swerving. If it was them, did you not choose them? Did you not accept their proposal? Did you not choose to have children with them? I'm tired of this baby daddy, baby mama. I used to do this. That's why I can speak on it. Baby daddy, baby mama. No. I made the choice. But see, we don't accept the role that we play in our own adversity or triumph.
Absolutely.
I'm going to leave that marriage seminar for another day.
No. and then people have to understand, just like the show we did on grief, it's going to be present in your life and it's always on a continuum.
Right.
So why do you think you need to go through adversity? You go through adversity in one area, so it helps you in another area. It helps you with growth. It helps you with success. And a lot of people may not understand it. In order to be successful, you have to get past adversity. There has to be some roadblocks, some stumbling blocks in front of you to show that you can navigate and get over certain things in order to get to the end. So for most people who have been in the military, you probably went through some type of basic training. When you went out to the obstacle course, if you paid real close attention to some of the words that the drill sergeant said, they would tell you to navigate the obstacle, negotiate the obstacle. They didn't say walk up to the obstacle and figure out how you're going to get past. No, you got to figure out how to do something with that obstacle. Oftentimes when obstacles are placed in front of us, we want to sit back there and study it for too long instead of realizing it's just right there in front of you. Either you're going to run, jump, fly, do something, just get over it. The other part of that is understanding that they never said that we can help somebody negotiate the obstacle ourselves. So you see people climbing up on the wall, turn around backwards, they grab somebody else and pull them over. I believe there's a big part of adversity in our lives today is that we're not willing to reach back and help people get over the things that we already went through.
That's an African term. I think called Sankofa. Like you go reach back.
Reach back.
Into pull. I want to just bring this up in counseling and just in our faith. The word says in James 1:2, it says, "Dear brothers and sisters, when troubles of any kind come your way, consider it an opportunity for great joy. For you know that when your faith is tested, when adversity comes, your faith is tested. Right? Can I do this? Can God do this? Will we survive this? It says, but when your faith is tested, your endurance has a chance to grow. You get to mature. You get to mature. So let it grow, it says. For when your endurance is fully developed, you will be perfect and complete, needing nothing.
Wow.
Absolutely.
It's an opportunity for maturity.
I like that version.
Okay, NLT. Okay,
Yeah, there you go.
Let me just say this last point here, verse 5. If you need wisdom, ask our generous God, and He will give it to you. He will not rebuke you for asking. So if you need help, if you need wisdom, if you need support, ask.
Right.
Ask, get wisdom on how to handle this adversity and be specific, right? This adversity of cancer, this adversity of a job loss, this adversity of not having enough money to pay my bills. Get wisdom. Get wisdom, but just know that you're going to mature after this adversity. When you overcome, you will mature. You're not going to hopefully you won't repeat the same. You really learn from it. But take it as a great opportunity for joy.
Yes. You know what? That reminds me, even what I said this in our grief segment, that as long as we believe that someone or something else is responsible, we're unable to recover. But I'm going to say that as long as we blame other people or make others responsible for our adversity, we can't overcome. We cannot overcome it. We have to take responsibility for who we are, how we're showing up in that moment. Like you said, if you have an adversity in your finances, what can you do to help you? Like we were talking earlier, you know who you are in God. And as we all do, because we did the work, right?
Absolutely.
We went to the Word and we found out what the Word says about us and we applied it to our life. It wasn't just, I'm going to read this and then I'm not going to do anything to apply it. That's the other thing, application. You have to apply what you learn. And this is one of the things that I run back with my clients all the time. We go through tools, I teach them certain things. And then when they present with a similar issue, I say, well, what tool did you use?
Accountability.
Yes. What tool did you use? Because I've already taught you this. We've already been through this. So I'm not going to reteach anything. We can reevaluate, review, but I'm not going to reteach it because you should have it. But if you're taking it and you're just listening to it in that moment and not applying anything, like people go to conferences all the time. They go to all these conferences and you get all of this knowledge from these conferences. And then when you leave, y'all hyped up the day of,
Right.
You know, the conference ends. But then when next week come, you woe is me, crying about the same thing that before the conference, but what did you learn at the conference?
Now what you know, what you do.
Why are you not applying those things that you've learned? That's one thing. Any sermon that I listen to every Sunday when I attend church, I'm learning, I'm taking that word and as it's going forth, I'm applying it to me. How can I take this word and make me better?
Absolutely.
That's good.
Yes.
So basically what you're saying is when a client or person comes to counseling, okay, go there, take notes, and then personalize it, right? And then decide daily, I'm going to do this today. I'm going to monitor my money. I'm going to monitor how I spend my time, right? I'm going to monitor whatever. Like you're going to actually apply it. You're going to do it.
And I find that my clients that take notes, and I have a lot that take notes when they're in therapy, when they come back, they're my most successful ones. They have the most success rate for me in my line of work, that they have applied it because they took the note, they went back and they come back. Well, I thought about what you said and what we discussed, and I did this and I did, and it worked, and you're right, and this and that. And so change is happening, right? They're overcoming. They're no longer being held or bound or hindered by their adversity. They're learning how to overcome it and come out on the other side.
It's a learned behavior.
That's a good one. I'm glad you said that's learned behavior. Sometimes people don't understand that they can't overcome adversity because they're the problem. And they have to go back and take a look at some things that has happened in their life so that they're able to move forward and then get over that adversity. So here come another analogy. Ding, ding, ding. We're in the middle of football season. I love some football, but I know all of y'all have heard this. You hear the whistle, the referee blows the whistle, they throw a flag, and then what does the coach do? Coach says, no, that didn't happen. And they throw a red flag out there. You need to go back and do a challenge. I want a replay. And so the official goes on and they're doing this thing right here, and it comes out upon further review, and they find out that the person did commit the infraction. Sometimes people have to go back and take a really good hard look at themselves and say, that's where I messed up at right there. That is the reason why I'm not moving forward right now, because it's not always everybody else. Sometimes it's you.
But that's the problem, though. Kenya people don't take the time to sit back and find out that
Absolutely. And then when they get in a room with folks like us and we say, hold on a minute, what did you just say? And then you tell them that they need to reframe. You tell them that they need to start writing positive affirmations. You need to start thinking more highly of yourself, work on your self-esteem. Then things can start turning around. But if you stay in that same rut, you're never going to have anything. And one of our old pastors used to say this, and I do this, I think about it all the time. He said, in order for you to have something that you never had, you got to do something that you've never done.
You know what I just wrote down? Things change when you are committed to the process.
Oh, yes.
Things change when you are committed to the process. And to your point, Nikki, what you were just saying, I was sitting over here trying not to take out running. So if I run, I'm going to come back. But it's just like, oh my God, the best clients that I have had, because just how I am here is, I'm professional. But, like I said in the first session, I'm letting them know, hey, this is how I operate. Are we going to do the work? Because I always say this, I'm not going to waste our time and your money. I don't believe in that. So if you're committed to doing the work, and so, hey, did some of them say they grew up in church. Get you a notebook, get you a composition book. Because I want you to take church notes as we are in session, whatever comes to you, right? And so the best clients that I've had, they are so committed to the process. I was about to say committed to that thing. They're so committed to their process that things after I finish having session with them, because I do pray. I pray before going to session with my clients. And after when God download me, okay, next section, talk about A, B, C, D, and E. I'm writing that thing down, so I already know what to talk about. Well, let me tell you how good my clients is. And I'm praying for many more like this. They will come back and say, I was thinking about Papa. So I'm just marking through everything that God told me to talk to them about, because they are so committed to the process. So in order to overcome adversity, and walk in triumph, walk in victory, you must be committed to your own process. We have to stop as a people putting the onus on everyone else to make us better. Most women talk about losing weight, right? I want to shed a couple pounds. But baby, I can't set up her. Rachel could be my accountability partner. Hey, sis, so are you up and walking your 4 miles that you said? But if I'm still laying in the bed, I'm going to be, adversity. I'm going to be woeing as men. So that's what I would encourage people and ask you, are you committed to your own process of getting better? Because this everybody else, and I'm gonna kind of say something a little bit about the word, then I'm gonna shut up.
Yeah, I guess.
But the word, growing up in a church, and how the word generally says, basically we are to look out for our neighbors and everything like that. The word kind of paraphrased, also talking about in this more so in leadership about, taking care of your own Jerusalem. But we'll get off of that because we ain't here for a Bible study lesson. However, the thing is, I believe what people have become so committed to is that it's the responsibility of someone else to fix me. It is the responsibility of you therapist, you counselor. I'm paying you. I got you on payroll. Your mindset is already messed up coming into your own session. So you are not benefiting yourself because of how you're thinking. Go
Listen,
ahead.
I'm thinking about like adult children depending on their parents. To
Okay.
fix them, or to get them out of their adversity.
Or adult children depending on each other, and you ain't even living with your parents. Because you know, we didn't supervise some of us that were supervisors. But anyway,
It's called dependency.
Yeah.
that part.
It's called I'm depending on you to fix me. And then if you don't, I blame you. And I'm still the same.
You know what? That's man. Y'all just segue one thing into another. We just linked so good.
I love it. It's the Lord.
Some people can't overcome adversity because they don't know how to celebrate their accomplishments. They don't realize when they've overcome it.
Yes.
And so they're dependent on other people to say, attaboy, whatever. You can do that for yourself. You know, I've seen a lot of times in church when somebody overcomes something, they run around that circle. They're like, why is she running? I don't need you to run. This is for me right now.
Come on.
And some people don't know how to do that. Quit looking for everybody else to say, attaboy. Believe you me, you got some people out there hating on you secretly.
Yes.
They're like, how did they end up doing this? How did they buy that? How did he end up getting that job? Don't worry about it. That's you overcoming adversity and God putting you in a position.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
Can I just share this?
Yes, ma'am. Shout on in because we've been waiting. We've been waiting.
Yeah.
I've been silent, but I'm always listening and processing and taking in. And in order to overcome, we got to do something. As a child of God, Ephesians 6:10-18. I'm just going to read this. I'm just saying. It says, finally, be strong in the Lord and in his mighty power. Put on the full armor of God so that you can take your stand against the devil's schemes. For our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the authorities, against the powers of this dark world, and against the spiritual forces of evil in heavenly realms. I'm just going to put a pin right there and just say real quick. Verse 11 starts off with put on. We got to do something. So in order to overcome adversity, we got to do something. We got to take that action. You said commit to the process.
Yes.
We got to take that action. It goes on to say, and I stopped at 12. 13 says, therefore, put on the full armor of God so that when the day of evil comes, the day of trials, the day of testing comes, you may be able to stand your ground. And after you have done everything to stand, stand firm then with the belt of truth buckled around your waist, with the breastplate of righteousness in place, and with your feet fitted, equipped with the readiness that comes from the gospel of peace. 16 says, in addition to all of this, right, take up the shield of faith. If your faith is gone, missing, lacking, we're going to have some trouble. And we're going to have some trouble because we people in this world, but not of this world. But in your faith, if your faith grows, take up that shield of faith, which you can extinguish all the flames, arrows of the evil one. 17, take the helmet of salvation and the sword of the Spirit, which is the word of God. And it goes on in 18 and it says, pray in the Spirit. But my point, my whole point is we got to put it on. At no point does the scripture tell us to take it off. So if we're going to overcome, put it on.
Right. And don't take it off.
Don't take it off.
Yeah.
And
That's deep right there. Yes.
Amen.
That's good. I'm sitting up thinking, you know, for our clients that has made the decision to do the work. And then you come into the counseling room and you've went through your whole process and you've tasted triumph because you went through all the things, whether that be you had 6 sessions or you'd had a year and a half worth of sessions. You did the work and you tasted triumph. And I'm sitting, don't take it back off. You don't go backwards because we tend to sometimes think it's a lie that we are better if I just stay where I was. Then why are we wasting time when you were sitting in triumph? So if you put it on, don't take it off. Keep it on and continue to go forward.
Right. That's right.
But sometimes we just want to take the easy way out.
Or the comfortable way. It's about comfort. How comfortable I am with where I'm at. And if I have to do something different to get to another side, the work that it's going to take. And I don't want to do all of that. That's too much. Why'd I got to go through all of that? I want to getting from point A to point C without going through B. We don't want to do the work at all. We just don't want to do the work.
That's true.
So we have to think about that. And when we're dealing with clients who say they want to do the work, but are unsure of how to do the work or where to start in the work.
Right.
Because like I said, if I'm facing adversity, some adversities that I'm facing is self-inflicted, right? But is it because of my, what's the word I'm looking for? My upbringing or the root, like my foundation. So how I see money, I keep finding myself always broke. Why am I always broke? Well, how do you see money? How do you view money? What's your idea of what money is and what it's supposed to do? You know, what are the uses for money? So being able to change that. Some people want to stay surface. They don't want to get to the root. So just like I said, come fix me, fix the situation, fix where I'm at right now, and be gone. While there are some situations that would allow for solution focused type therapy, there is a lot more that requires you to go deep. And nobody wants to go deep because we know that going deep requires a stronger emotion that comes up that nobody wants to deal with. So it's easier for me to stay in my adversity, even though I've tasted triumph. It's easier for me to stay. It's comfortable for me to stay in the adversity because at least I know that. That's familiar. That's normal to me. So you said something earlier about the young lady who had experienced so much triumph throughout her life that she hadn't experienced failure or anything like that. That was her normal.
That was normal.
It was her normal. And so when we talk about somebody experiencing something outside of their normal, we tend to reject that. No. But most of us, for the most part, don't experience triumph like that. We experience a lot of adversity, layered adversities, to the point where we can't see ourselves as victorious.
And I'm going to say this may cause a little uproar, but as people of color, we've experienced a lot of adversity in our history, even in our daily lives. And I think one thing that people have to focus on, this is all ethnicities, is that working together, we can overcome a lot more than trying to do everything by ourselves. There were times in our history where we were less than. And they gave us the bare minimum, but we would take that and turn that into something that everybody would be in awe of. I think the world has gotten a day where they're more individualistic instead of working collectively to achieve the things we really need to do. I think we need to take a step back and say, what are the adversities that are out there, and how do we bring everybody together to culminate on this one problem or several problems and work at it from a collective standpoint than one person running for office, one person doing this, one person doing that. The Bible even tells us two are better than one. Because when one falls, somebody else is there to help them. And then understand this. How many times have you seen men or women working together with a problem? They may be sweating, trying to lift something up, but once they get it up there, what do they always do? They sit back and they smile. That's the point that we have to get to. And I think more people are focusing on what can I get when it comes to overcoming adversity instead of what can we get.
Wow.
Goes back to that whole thing. We've been taught how to receive. And not how to lose nothing.
Exactly.
So we don't give.
Teach a man to fish.
He lived a life.
Live a lifetime, but if you give it to him, you only gonna live that day.
That's
Man. It's like this thing is so good. I can't do nothing but just I'm trying to process.
Yeah.
And just breathing is, oh my God, this is an amazing topic that I personally feel, and of course, seeing in the profession that many need. And that's why I always encourage for those of you who are listening. And I say this when it comes to encouraging others. If it may not be for you, it's for somebody else.
Yeah.
So as Kenya, you was just saying, I think a part of that collective is, you know what? I had this conversation with you the other day. Say if I was to say, sis, you know, because that's what we use in our culture. Sis, I had this conversation with you the other day, and I remember when you was talking about blah, blah, blah. But I happened to be on YouTube, and it's this group of counselors that was talking. Let me send you, I need you to watch this. But what we tend to do, to your point, is because we're going through, we're struggling, and we're in adversity and whatever, then they'll be okay. It's so individualistic. But then we sit up here and wonder, and I don't know why I'm going there, but I am, why we're not receiving our blessings. Because we're not trying to help bless nobody else. And it ain't nothing that we have to do monetarily. So the first part that I keep saying is, and you know, like I said, I can't take the credit because Nikki said it first in one of our other segments. Examine yourself.
Yeah.
Sit down after you finish listening to this show tonight. Examine yourself and ask yourself, are you in a place of adversity or triumph? And if you feel you're in more adversity than triumph, what are you going to do to change it? Because only you can change it. Your husband, your wife, your kids, your mama, your daddy, can't nobody change it. And I think sometimes that's when we mess up as parents. Learn that when we were talking about cycles. Because when our kids grow out and they get on their own, I still want to. But guess what? I got to be like Mama Bird and Daddy Bird and push you a little bit out the nest. I got to teach you a little bit at the time. Our son went off to college. That joker knew he could come home every weekend. It was adverse for him because he's an introvert, severe introvert, seriously. But he knew he could come back home. We told him, hey, you can call mom and daddy if you need anything. And guess what he started doing? When his battery didn't work on his car and he was facing adversity, and he's away. Now, you know what mama wanted, I got to get to my baby, you know, or whatever. He didn't call mama. I was a little mad he didn't. He called daddy. He called daddy and he said, Daddy, I just want to make you aware of what happened. My car stopped running. Now at this time, he was 19 years old. My car started running. So of course, daddy gonna tell him, well, son, you need to do ABC. Before he can get out his mouth, but daddy, guess what I did? I did A, B, C, D, and E. It was a place right down the street. This boy don't know nothing about car. It was a place right down the street, and I got to jump to get down the street, and they tested it was the battery. So then Daddy says, "Well, son, we're gonna put some money in your account." Daddy, I already paid for it. I was just calling to let you know. Come on, somebody.
Yeah.
And so as parents, we have to understand that too. Sometimes we try to be so perfect and not allow our children to know the adversity that we're going through, that we're actually doing them a disjustice because they think it's easy. One of our other sons, oh, you have to be on your own. Come here. Come sit down in the office with me. Mama, why you got me doing this? I want you to see how much we're paying for these bills. And that's what's a lot going on with this generation. It's hard for them and adverse for them because they don't know what mama and daddy have to go through just so they can be comfortable.
Like what we used to tell the kids or our parents to say, well, I know I used to tell my money don't grow on trees.
Come on,
last
somebody.
time I checked, we weren't growing a money tree in the backyard.
I like that.
We don't have a money tree. There is a bank. So what we did for our kids was they got bank accounts really early on in life, because you're going to learn how to use money. And if you go in there and you spend every dime in your account, guess what? You broke.
Right.
You broke till you earn some more. And that was the other thing. Like we had a shop. Our kids got up and went to work. You're going to go and help the family business. You're going to learn that the money that is being used for all these privileges that you get,
Come on.
it's coming from somewhere. We're not growing it. We're definitely not growing it. I kind of wish I did. I got a plant that they sent to me from a money tree. I wish they did grow some money.
I'll be fertilizing that second.
He did making sure we get all the sun and water he need. But that's the thing, we don't teach our children, we don't show them that yes, adversities will come, that things will happen. This is what is going to be needed. I taught my kids earlier on how to have conversations, important conversations. So you're going to make phone calls.
Right.
And I'm going to sit here and I'm going to help you and coach you through it. But you're going to talk for yourself, because what we do as parents, typically we do everything for them. And then when they go off to school or go get grown, or as we say, 18, and they go out the house, okay, here, go out and be successful.
They're not ready.
And they're not ready. They're
Didn't teach
not
them.
ready. So all types of adversities come their way because we didn't prepare them for it.
Right.
And the biggest thing I think is the reason is because we weren't prepared.
Yes.
So where do we break the cycle? Where do we really change the course for our life and for our children? We talk a lot about leaving legacies and things like that for our children. What type of legacy do you want to leave for them? Do you want them to be triumphant, or do you want them to always be in retreat mode? You know, that they don't know how to go out there and be triumphant. So if we want to see things change, we're going to have to make some change, which goes right back to the point. You got to do the work.
Yeah.
Got to do the work. And I think one of the things we have to do, especially when it comes to our children, is the first time they start to experience adversity, we have to be there with them.
Exactly.
Talk it through with them. Say, okay, what are you seeing right now? Which way do you think you should go? Let's see if this works. And that shows them how to try things. And if they fail, it's not that you give up, but you try and try again. But I have a fear that in the world that we live in right now, it's hard for parents to do that because they're trying to live through their kids. So I need you to be great so it makes me look great because I'm trying to quit working and get. You got to teach them. That's your responsibility. God gave you to raise up a child. I'm gonna leave that alone.
And when he gets older, he gonna know his way. But that's the thing, we ain't teaching him the way because we don't know the way.
And I love how this transition, we hit so many different points with adversity and overcoming, and it came right to where not that all of it is good, but our kids, the next generation. You may mention, and I'm hush about legacy. And, I was listening to what you were saying about business. Our younger children got to experience that. Our older children, when we didn't have business like that, let me tell you what we did do. And it wasn't just around the holidays. We get up. We're going to go volunteer. We're going to go help. Parents, how many of you all get your children up and not drop them off, but you go volunteer with them? Because guess what that does? That builds collective. That builds community. And so when you're hurting, I'm hurting. And we're working together to help you get you through this. And I just believe, this is me, and I'm not speaking any negativity in existence, but the way that the world is going, we're not going to have no choice but to get back to community and collective. So what are we teaching our children when it comes to, we can't shelter them for the rest of their life? What are we teaching and sowing in them? And the old folks used to say this, and I'm done. When you know better, you do better. So how many of us adults are doing better? Or are we still acting like adult children because we're living through our children?
That's it.
I'm done.
Okay. And that's going to be a wrap.
Yes, go.
Okay. That's going to be a wrap. So I guess, let's one word, I guess, if we could, to wrap up this segment. What would your one word be? My one word is resilience. Be resilient.
Can't come up with one word, but I would say never quit.
Okay.
Decide.
Okay.
Perspective.
Work.
That's it.
All right. There you have it. Thank you for joining us here at Talk Therapy Heal. We hope that something we've said today has entered into you and got your juices jumping, got your mind to thinking, and helping you to figure out a way to transform. Again, don't forget that there are many different support systems out there for you. Find a therapist, a trusted friend, or family member that you can talk to, but don't feel like you have to be in adversity alone or that you have to stay there. There is victory victory. There, you can triumph. You can be better than where you are today, or be in a better place than where you are today. So before you end this, or before we end, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't already subscribed, and make sure you have that notification bell selected so you'll know when we drop our next video. Thank you again for joining us here at Talk Therapy Heal.
Bye.